Shalom, giving all honor, all praise, and all glory to Yahweh, Bashum, Yahushai, Bashum, Rachak, Wadash. Dear ones to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone that rule well. And as always, peace, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect tabernacle of David, scattered abroad across the four winds of the earth. Now, the spirit was definitely on me to do a follow-up lesson in response to the video that the elder apostle Tahar did earlier, where he was responding to some rhetoric in which you had Captain Zaryak, he was facing off with some Kimite, and then and of course you had Slander, mediating the whole thing, which I still don't understand to this day why Captain Zaryak continues to keep a relationship with this guy, knowing that he does not respect your belief system. He does not respect the God that you serve, that you worship. He's very disrespectful. All right. You can never get me in the same room with a Sa Netter. All right. But I don't know if if Captain Zaryak, if he's just at this point, he's just an entertainer. I don't even consider him a prophet. He's more like a entertainer Israelite. He's there to entertain you at this point. Debating for sport, debating for entertainment. Because if he actually followed the scriptures, he wouldn't have no association with Sa Netter. Anyway, the main reason that I'm even doing this video is because the rhetoric of King David and Jonathan having a unseemly relationship, and that's something that a lot of people that are unlearned try to insinuate based off twisting of a particular scripture. They twist it to mean one thing, but those of us that are learned, we understand exactly what it meant. All right, and knowing the character and nature of a King David, all right, King David was he was a man, all right. Homie was a man, and he was a man after the Most High's heart. So if he was here, a lot of y'all would definitely be putting respect on his name, because when he sat on the throne, you wasn't seeing David. Okay, the man was a skilled warrior. He had many women. All right, he was skilled in war. He feared the Most High. So any narrative that you hear now is way after the fact. It's no different than the rumor that King James was a Mo. That was a rumor that was started. And I forget the dude's name who actually started that rumor. But a lot of people use that rumor against King James to discredit the Bible, because he used interpreters to translate the scriptures. And a lot of ignorant niggas, they like to say he was the one that wrote the Bible. Anytime you hear a nigga say that, just walk away from him. You ain't got nothing else to talk about. It's a lot of high level ignorance when it comes to, the history of the scriptures. So anyway, you basically hear the Kemet guy, which, if you still in Kemet in this day and age right now, man, you're a strange individual if you still carry that belief system. And you should be the last one to question the sexuality of anyone's belief system. When ancient Egypt left plenty of evidence behind of their debauchery, they left it on walls, hieroglyphs. All right, your mythological stories. You can ask one of them what happened between Horus and Seth. They'd have to admit to you it was some strange shit. And the scriptures told us, when you go into our law, the scriptures told us not to do don't do after the manner of any of these nations that are around you. And primarily, it was the Canaanites and the Egyptians that was pointed out because this was behavior that they were known to do because they didn't have the same statutes. They didn't live by the same ethics. Okay, let's go to Leviticus 18. Leviticus 18:1. It says, "And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, I am the Lord your God. After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwelt, shall ye not do. And after the doings of the land of Canaan, whither I bring you, shall you not do. Neither shall you walk in their ordinances." So don't follow after their customs, the things that they do. All right, because they're very immoral in nature. We're separate. We're supposed to be a holy people. Now, when you jump down and you look at all the immoral acts that the Lord told us to abstain from, these are all different behaviors that was prominent among the Egyptians and the Canaanites, which were Hamitic nations. All right, Ham was the Hamites. They were the biggest freaks. All right, they were real freaky, man. Now we know that this all goes into relations, sexual and marital relations, but these are all prohibited. All right, we're not to commit any of these acts. All right, incest it goes into. All right, sleeping with your own kin, but some more behavior. Let's go down. Leviticus 18:22. Thou shalt not lay or lie with mankind as with womankind, it is abomination. And I'm sure King David, being king of over Israel and over Judah, I'm sure he would have enforced that law. Him being a man after the Most High's heart, I'm sure he would have knew that that's law. That's why when you read throughout the scriptures in the Old Testament, it wasn't too many cases of this type of behavior in the Most High calling these type of acts to judgment because it wasn't happening that often. It really was going down because there was no tolerance for that. Same with adultery. Now you had sodomites, male temple prostitutes, and guess what? King David had a son named Asa, who actually went and put them all to death. So he was taught right. So how would that prove that King David had that spirit on him? So this is right here in our law, Leviticus 18:22. And mind you, up above what I just read, don't do after what you see these Egyptians do and what these Canaanites do. So you have to know that all these different behaviors was prominent among those called out nations. So we know for sure that the Egyptians were freaks. You got a hieroglyph of a man. He's bent he has like a flexibility where he's bent over himself with his rod pointing up, basically right at his grill. Well, basically it looked like he's giving himself oral. Now, I remember that came up on a PowerPoint that Captain Zaryak did when he was debating. I don't know if it was either Sarah Suit and Seti or Polite or one of them, but he brought that up on a PowerPoint presentation. So don't try to project that debauched behavior onto our belief and our heritage. That's something that we definitely don't tolerate. Let me go to another translation on this one. NIV, do not have sexual relations with a man as one does with a woman. That is detestable. In NET, it says you must not have sexual intercourse with a male as one has sexual intercourse with a woman. It is a detestable act. So this is clearly in our law, man. NLT, do not practice homosexuality, having sex with another man as with a woman. It is a detestable sin. And when you did that, the penalty was what? Death. Read Leviticus 20 and 13. So how could you come to that conclusion that King David would have that kind of spirit on him? Straight up slander. But this is what adversaries of the faith, Jake, that are in these different bugged out religions and philosophies, this is what they'll do as a countermeasure. All right. The curse said the Most High would smite them with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. And anybody that would wake up to, would not wake up, because you're definitely not woke. All right. If you follow that Egypt Kemet bull crap, then you definitely are a madman. You definitely are blind. Who fathered Egyptology? Who were the fathers of Egyptology? It certainly wasn't an Egyptian. The original Egyptians go back to Martezarium, Hamitic dark race of people. You don't see no Sudanese, the super tall Sudanese people, coming to your schools and your debates. These little auditoriums where y'all set up these little discussions and debates and all that. You don't see them coming there and co-signing any of that crap. There was a small hat that introduced this whole belief system where they figured that they decoded, all this language and the hieroglyphs, and Jake got infatuated with it. But that's just what happens when you've been destroyed as a nation and been discontinued from your heritage for such a long time. They're ready to take on any form of identity. But you getting your real identity returned to you, and you rebel, like the scriptures say. Israel is a rebellious nation, stiff-necked people. So anyway, that's it on that. Because we can talk about Egyptology and the most sexual behavior, the debauched things contained in their mythologies. There's all kind of evidence of that. The gods that they served, androgynous gods. But it's all idolatry at the end of the day. So let's deal with King David. And this is the verse that they like to go to. And they'll try to read into it and take from it, what they will. but it's very disingenuous because those that are learned, you would know what this actually mean, the type of relationship that David did have with Jonathan. So this is 2 Samuel 1, and I'll start at 23. It says, Saul and Jonathan were lovely and pleasant in their lives, and in their death they were not divided. They were swifter than eagles, they were stronger than lions. Ye daughters of Israel, weep over Saul, who clothed you in scarlet, with other delights, who put on ornaments of gold upon your apparel. How are the mighty fallen in the midst of the battle? O Jonathan, thou wast slain in thy high places. So this was after they both died. Okay. I am distressed for thee, my brother Jonathan. Very pleasant hast thou been unto me. Thy love to me was wonderful, passing the love of women. So, David is speaking in honor of his friend that he's actually mourning. All right. That was his friend, and they had a very honorable friendship. Their friendship is surpassed the love of a woman. See, Jake acting like they don't know the bro code. Especially if you a Jake, Jake normally, when they commiserate among themselves and they have some type of camaraderie with each other, they always go by that what you call the bro code. What is the bro code? When they say bros before hoes, let me just type in bro code. It says bro code. The bro code is a humorous, unwritten set of rules and expectations, primarily among male friends, emphasizing loyalty, respect, and camaraderie, often with the focus on bros before hoes. And that's pretty much what this verse means in a nutshell. Jonathan and David, they went by the bro code. All right. See, David, he loved women. His fall was because of a woman. All right. Men love fair women. All right. It cheers the countenance. But if you was one of his women and you popped up, if you was a woman and you popped off at the mouth, like one of his wives did, that being the daughter of Saul, was it Michal? She mouthed off to him when she caught him celebrating the defeat of was the Philistines and the returning of the Ark of the Covenant back to the city of David. He felt himself, he started jumping up. His garment went up, and he might have, something might have flashed, and she, which when you read the story, she had a little bit of a resentment. She had an attitude. She got a little jealous because I'm sure there were other women in attendance that saw what was going on, and they was cheering David. She had the nerve to open up her mouth to him, and he let her have it, and then he put her ass away. Made sure she died childless. So he may have loved her, but he didn't love her like that. So the respect and loyalty that he had with Jonathan, it surpassed that. Okay. Jonathan, he risked his life in favor of David. Now you go up, you just search this in on Google. Did Jonathan risk his life for David? And it says, yes, Jonathan, son of King Saul, risked his life for his friend David, even when it meant defying his father and risking his own position in the kingdom, as evidenced by his actions in 1 Samuel. All right. Like he was supposed to meet up at a new moon feast, but he wasn't present because he knew that Saul, he had that evil eye of jealousy, and he wanted to kill King David. All right, but King David still had respect for Saul. So instead, he fled from Saul, even though a few times while he was, on the run from Saul, he had to drop on Saul and refused to take him out of respect, knowing that he was still the Lord's anointed. He was still king. It was before the Lord actually dethroned Saul. And Jonathan, he would meet up with David to basically give him the spill on what his father was trying to do. He loved his father, but he loved David. And he knew that his father was being very wrongful towards David. It says, here is a more detailed look at their relationship and Jonathan's actions. Jonathan and David formed a strong bond, with Jonathan loving David as much as his own soul. And then you got Saul's jealousy. Saul became jealous of David's growing popularity and began to see him as a threat, leading him to pursue David's life. Jonathan's loyalty. Despite his father's actions, Jonathan remained loyal to David and believed in his friend's integrity. 1 Samuel 20, Jonathan risked his life to help David escape Saul's pursuit by secretly meeting with him and providing him with information and weapons. Jonathan's actions put him at odds with his father and risking his own standing in the kingdom. Yet he continued to support David. All right. So this man was risking his life, just for David's sake, man. Let's go to 1 Samuel 20. They made a covenant with each other. 1 Samuel 20 and 1. I'm not going to read the whole chapter. I'm going to just read the first, maybe the first few verses, and then I'm going to jump down. So this is 1 Samuel 20 and 1. It says, and David fled from Noyath in Ramah and came and said before Jonathan, what have I done? What is mine iniquity? And what is my sin before thy father that he seeketh my life? It was jealousy. They saw that he was skilled in warfare. When they would go to battle, he was killing more enemies than Saul was, and the people was acknowledging that. So he got jealous. It was growing popularity in him being the young buck, being the underdog. He didn't take too kindly to David's growing popularity, even though he was king. And he said unto him, God forbid thou shalt not die. Behold, my father will do nothing, either great or small, but that he will shew it me. And why should my father hide this thing from me? It is not so. And David swore moreover and said, thy father certainly knoweth that I have found grace in thine eyes. And he saith, let not Jonathan know this, lest he be grieved. But truly as the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, there is but a step between me and death. Then said Jonathan unto David, whatsoever thy soul desireth, I will even do it for thee. And David said unto Jonathan, behold, tomorrow is a new moon, and I shall not fail to sit with the king at meat, but let me go that I might hide myself in the field until the third day at even. If thy father at all miss me, then say, David earnestly asked leave of me, that he might run to Bethlehem his city, for there is a yearly sacrifice there for all the family. If he say, thus it is well, thy servant shall have peace. But if he be very rough, then be sure that evil is determined by him. See that? Therefore, thou shalt deal kindly with thy servant, for thou hast brought thy servant unto a covenant of the Lord with thee. Notwithstanding, if there be in me iniquity, slay me thyself. For why shouldest thou bring me to thy father? And Jonathan said, far be it from thee, for if I knew certainly that evil were determined by my father to come upon thee, then would I not tell it thee? Then said David to Jonathan, who shall tell me? Or what if thy father answer thee roughly? And Jonathan said unto David, come and let us go out into the field. And they went out both of them into the field. It's gonna make me end up reading the whole chapter. I'm trying not to. So let me just jump down. So now I want to read it for contextual purpose. So you get the gist of the story. And now we're gonna get to the point where they finally have the feast. So this is 1 Samuel 20. I'll start at the 18th verse. It says, then Jonathan said to David, tomorrow is the new moon, and thou shalt be missed, because thy seat will be empty. And when thou hast stayed 3 days, then thou shalt go down quickly, and come to the place where thou didst hide thyself when the business was in hand, and shall remain by the stone Ezel or Ezel. And I will shoot 3 arrows on the side thereof, as though I shot at a mark. And behold, I will send a lad, saying, go and find out the arrows. If I expressly say unto the lad, behold, the arrows are on this side of thee, take them, then come thou, for there is peace to thee, and no hurt, as the Lord liveth. But I say thus unto the young man, behold, the arrows are beyond thee, go thy way, for the Lord hath sent thee away. And as touching the matter which thou and I have spoken of, behold, the Lord be between thee and me forever. Right? So the Most High, he's witness, of their agreement and their relationship. So David hid himself in the field, and when the new moon was come, the king sat him down to eat meat. And the king sat upon his seat, as at other times, even upon a seat by the wall. And Jonathan arose, and Abner sat by Saul's side, and David's place was empty. Nevertheless, Saul spake not anything that day, for he thought something have befallen him. He is not clean. Surely he is not clean. Meaning ceremonially, maybe he couldn't attend because he's not ceremonially clean. Maybe he was dealing with a woman and forgot that it's a new moon, and we're supposed to stay pure during a holy day, right? For you demons in Israel that teach that you can lay with your woman on a Sabbath day. Continuing on, it says, and it came to pass on the morrow, which was the 2nd day of the month, that David's place was empty. And Saul said unto Jonathan his son, wherefore cometh not the son of Jesse to meet, neither yesterday nor today? And Jonathan answered Saul, David earnestly asked to leave of me to go to Bethlehem. And he said, let me go, I pray thee, for our family have a sacrifice in the city, and my brother he hath commanded me to be there. And now if I have found favor in thine eyes, let me get away, I pray thee, and see my brethren. Therefore he cometh not unto the king's table. So he put in the word for David. Basically this is his excuse. And him and David already talked this out and agreed upon this. So him being an honorable friend that he was, he's telling his father, who is the king, all right, he basically had to come up with something to his own father. That's how much love he had for David. And Saul was gonna press him about that. Then Saul's anger was kindled against Jonathan, and this proved David's point. Your father, if he's wroth, then you're gonna see that there's evil. There's some evil there. So this moment confirmed what David was telling him. It says, then Saul's anger was kindled against Jonathan, and said unto him, thou son of the perverse, rebellious woman, do not I know that thou hast chosen the son of Jesse to thy own confusion, and unto the confusion of thy mother's nakedness? For as long as the son of Jesse liveth upon the ground, thou shalt not be established, nor thy kingdom. Wherefore now send and fetch him unto me, for he shall surely die. So now it's up now. Now his true intentions is showing. He had a demon on him. And he was definitely jealous of David. Now watch this. And Jonathan answered Saul his father and said unto him, wherefore shall he be slain? What have he done? And Saul cast a javelin at him to smite him. So he was damn near about to kill his own son for questioning why he's feeling his way about David. Whereby Jonathan knew that it was determined of his father to slay David. So Jonathan arose from the table in fierce anger and did eat no meat the second day of the month, for he was grieved for David because his father had done him shame. Then he went out and met with David, and for further reference, y'all can read the rest of this. All right. So this shows you how close they were, man. All right. Now you jump down here, right? This is 1 Samuel 20 and 40 says, and Jonathan gave his artillery unto his lad and said unto him, go carry them to the city. And as soon as the lad was gone, David arose out of a place toward the south and fell on his face to the ground and bowed himself 3 times. And they kissed one another and wept one with another until David exceeded. And they'll say, see, look, this is questionable. We got to question this. Come on, man. It was actually a customary thing among us, all right, that, to show a token of respect and reverence, we would kiss one another. Now you had Judas Iscariot. He betrayed the Lord with one of those kisses. So that shows you that it was a customary thing. It was nothing homo about it. So we just living in a new society now, where we have a total different mindset. But this was of the norm in Eastern culture. So this doesn't insinuate that nothing unseemly happened between them two. They was in heaviness, they kissed each other on the cheek and they cried. They mourned because they knew that Saul, even though he was the king, he had an evil spirit on him. So let me get this quick scripture, because this proverb is what puts it all in perspective. First, let's start with this one, Proverbs 17 and 17. And it says, a friend loveth at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. And on this side, how many of you can really say that you had a friend like that? I never really had a friendship like this until I came into the truth. The brotherhood is pretty much the ultimate friendship. Where you have the love and the respect and the loyalty to one another, man, that you would even die for each other. That's what Yahweh Shai, he even taught that principle to his disciples. And that people would know that they're the Lord's disciples by the love that they would have for each other. Was it John 15? This is John 15 and 12. It says, this is my commandment that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love have no man than this, that a man laid down his life for his friends. You see that? And King David and Jonathan, they showed that example. Yahweh Shai showed that example when he went on that cross. So talk about deep-rooted friendship, man. Not the friendship of this world, where people pretend like they're a friend only for the sake of favor, or some kind of benefit, something that they can get out of it to use you. But the scriptures say a friend is not hid um, in adversity. There's some people that are friends for their own occasion. They're only a friend at the table. That's not real friendship. So let's get the next proverb. This is Proverbs 18 and is it 23? 24. Proverbs 18 and 24. It says, a man that have friends must shew himself friendly, and there is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. So the friend, the bond is so tight that you feel like you're closer to the friend than your actual blood relative, your own sibling. Sometimes you can have siblings that are distant. You're not that close with them, but then you have a friend. Y'all been super tight since y'all was at the sandbox, and y'all done fought dudes, on each other's behalf. Probably got jumped together, by a bunch of niggas. You went back females, to all type of stuff. Gave each other money when the other didn't have it. So, come on, man. That whole narrative is a complete reach. Any person reading, exactly what it's describing. It has nothing to do with the freaky shit that them Hamites were into, and what Esau ultimately is into. All right. David, he didn't play that shit, man. He wasn't the one. He even said that he hates. Let me go to Psalms. Was it Psalms 101? Psalms 101 and 1. It says, a psalm of David, I will sing of mercy and judgment unto thee, O Yahweh will I sing. I will behave myself wisely in a perfect way. O when wilt thou come unto me? I will walk within my house with a perfect heart. I will set no wicked thing before mine eyes. I hate the work of them that turn aside. It shall not cleave to me. A froward heart shall depart from me. I will not know a wicked person. Damn sure not a mo. Hell, when two of his men, they went to go see what was the name of that king? I think he was one of the Moabite kings, and the king, when I think they were his two messengers, he sent them over there to be diplomatic with him, and he in turn he shaved half of their beards and cut half their garment to where they basically their ass was showing, to humiliate them, and sent them back. And David, when he saw them, David was he was ready, and he told them, hey, before y'all even show yourself back to the congregation, leave and until y'all beards grow back fully, then you could return. So David was definitely a man. All right. So that slander, that shit gets put to bed, man. It's put to rest. I remember when Zoe Williams, all right, that guy, he's another one of them, pseudo intellectual dudes that like to get all philosophical and whatnot. He was bringing up the same talking point. trying to insinuate that King David and Jonathan had a strange relationship, and that was a big fucking slander, man. And I remember we got on him too when he said all that. So this is in the mind of King David, man. He wouldn't know such a person that indulge in those type of wicked acts, man. All right. He said that he would he'll destroy all the wicked doers from the city of the Lord. All right. So cut it out. All right, with your played out Kemet Egyptology madness. All right, nobody want to hear that in 2025, man. This shit is old and rusty. So, Lord willing, Yahweh edified. Let me give all honor, all praise, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And until the next lesson, I say Shalom.